And now it's time to hit the biggest stories of the week with my amazing political panel, and we start off with one of the messiest men in politics, and that's saying a lot. Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani exclusively told NBC that he'll be breaking news this afternoon regarding his recent legal woes. He says he'll make his statement in Weehawken, New Jersey, near the dueling grounds where Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton, for reasons that still remain unclear. The New York Times reports that the federal criminal investigation into Giuliani is focusing on his role in pushing for the removal of Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch. And while Giuliani says he's shocked and issuing denials, and his lawyer is calling this legal thuggery, not a single New Yorker is surprised. Joining me now is Jassy Ross, attorney and co-host of the podcast Break Dances with Wolves on Indigenous Pirate Radio, Dr. Jason Johnson, MSNBC political contributor and politics and journalism professor at Morgan State University, and Aaron Haynes, editor-at-large for The 19th. Aaron, I want to kick this to you because one of my most frustrating things about the media landscape is when some of our colleagues ask, what happened to America's mayor? Number one, he was never America's mayor. And number two, a lot of us have been saying Rudy Giuliani has been garbage for a long time. Ask some of the black and brown people in New York. They can tell you. What do you make of this fall of Rudy Giuliani that we could have told people was coming a long time ago, prior to 9/11 even?
I think what we would tell them is, you know, the kind of legend of Rudy Giuliani has been out there for decades, right? And also the relationship between Donald Trump before he was president and Rudy Giuliani also stretches back decades. And so it really is no surprise that these two have intertwined fates. And it's no surprise that you know, we're seeing Rudy Giuliani, who has always had kind of a flair for the dramatic, you know, being true to form, you know, here even in 2021. So, you know, I think that people definitely need a reminder of kind of the context of history, looking back at his career, whether, you know, he was a prosecutor to America's mayor, you know, allegedly, depending on who you ask, to your point, to the role that he had in the Trump administration. Rudy Giuliani has been who he always was, much as Donald Trump before he was president and into his presidency has always been who he always was.
Cannot agree more, Jassy. I want to ask you to put your legal hat on. What are the chances you think right now that Donald Trump is texting Rudy Giuliani saying snitches get stitches? What do you think?
I think that Donald Trump is nervous at this moment, and I think that he should be. You know, the FBI in these DOJ investigations has a very, very high percentage success rate, conviction rate, when they actually expend resources to go through this, you know, this sort of a raid, dramatic raid of a very high profile, very, very wealthy, very, very powerful white man. And so it kind of begs the question, you know, if this powerful white man who's been able to elude the gaze of law enforcement for a very long time, despite, you know, alleged unscrupulous dealings for a very long time, it tells you the extent of the stuff that he's been involved in. There's a lot of things, just like Donald Trump. And so I think that for all of that group, that little cabal of people, they should be nervous.
Jason, you and I have talked about this before. Rudy Giuliani has always been a problem. I mean, people act like Donald Trump was the first problematic person, but really Donald Trump was mimicking a lot of the things that Giuliani did in racializing these campaigns, the debates, you know, his relationship with law enforcement. He pretty much, you know, damn near led a police riot when he was running for mayor back in the 90s. What do you make out of this effort to reinvent him, only to find out, yeah, we tried to tell you all this a long time ago. September 10th, everybody knew he was garbage. 9/11, all of a sudden, he became America's mayor.
Well, Tiffany, like you said, he only became America's mayor if you were in certain zip codes. Because not in mine, and
right.
Not most of the people that I know. But look, it's not surprising, right? There has been, everybody is interested in recreating their own myth-making. People have different opinions of George Bush now than they did at the time. People try and have different opinions of Sean Spicer. There are all sorts of people who are always going to try and clean up their past. But I think what we have to remember about Rudy in this situation is this is deeper and darker and more serious than we've thought before, right? I mentioned earlier in the week, having the FBI raid your house is usually just a criminal justice issue, right? Some lethal weapon, blah, blah, blah. We're going to break in your home. We're going to find your stuff. But this is an international issue. this is the possibility that he might have been acting on the behalf of a cabal going all the way back to Russia in order to destabilize not one, but two countries. Now we're in Jason Bourne territory. And that means that he can't necessarily just slip out of this by calling for some favors from different members of the Republican Party. So if you're not willing to see Rudy Giuliani for who he is now, maybe you'll see him better down the road when he's in the orange jumpsuit, because it's one thing to play with local laws, but when you start getting the things that are international, I don't think he's going to be able to wiggle his way out of it. And he's not that smart. This is a guy who got outsmarted by Borat, right? So I don't think he's necessarily going to be able to outsmart Merrick Garland and the DOJ.
Yeah, exactly. We try to tell folks, you know, where you smell smoke, there's fire. We've been telling people, yeah, there's some fire over there.